support the police. We got to support our men and women in blue. Like it or not, they work for so much little, yet they do so much, and you don't want to support them. And I said, that is a problem. I want people of Georgia to know that. If you want to get this Georgia back together, you want to get this country back together, you got to vote for people that believes in this country. And if you don't believe in the country, leave and go somewhere else. If it's a worse state, why are you here? Why don't you leave? Go to another. There's 51 more other states you can go to. You don't have to be here.
Oh no, Herschel, no, bro. Herschel Walker was on Clay Travis's show, and he was talking about Stacey Abrams there, because Stacey Abrams had some words to say about how Georgia has issues. Probably one of the hardest states to live in as an American. So of course, you go to the age-old Republican talking point: if you don't like it here, why don't you leave and move to those other 51 states in the union? This guy's running for United States Senate in a state in the country and has no idea how many states are in the United States. All he has to do is count them all on the American flag that he doesn't pay attention to either, because that's just a symbol there to use for political purposes as well. Either way it goes, let's go into more details, because he also vented further about how if things are so horrible and it angered those Republicans. Let's watch what Stacey Abrams did say that got them so upset.
I am tired of hearing about being the best state in the country to do business when we are the worst state in the country to live. When you're number 48 for mental health, when you're number 1 for maternal mortality, when you have an incarceration rate that's on the rise and wages that are on the decline, then you're not the number 1 place to live in the United States. But we can get there, Gwinnett.
Again, Herschel Walker doesn't want someone who's a politician running for office to better the lives of her constituents, to point out the things that can make their lives better. Instead, the response is, why don't you go somewhere else? There's this guy that endorsed Herschel Walker, says he's his good friend, and he has this whole slogan. It's called "Make America Great Again." That would suggest that America's not great right now. Hey, Trump, if you don't like it, why don't you get the hell out of here and go to some other country where it's great already? It's weird how they can say those things in one person, but then can't say it when it comes to Stacey Abrams. One other thing, there's this guy, his name is Herschel Walker, and in that same clip, you know what he said? I wrote it down. First off, he said they do so much little. We're gonna get beyond that. But he also said, if you wanna get Georgia back together, then we need to do this, this, and that. Sounds like Georgia's not together, Herschel. Why don't you leave since it's not together and it's the best state in the country? It's in the same statement, he said the exact opposite of what he's trying to say. Either way it goes, let's go to more details, because this whole 51 state remark obviously was very obvious to tell that was ridiculous. So of course, Clay Travis has to help him out a little bit. This is what he said in response to try and bring that whole 52 state mark together. He says, like you said, Stacey Abrams, a lot of other states she could choose to live in, 49 of them. He had to clear it up there. And maybe the District of Columbia. I know Democrats want to make DC and Puerto Rico states. So before they're done, 51, 52, who knows? We need Herschel Walker in there in the Senate. Yeah, because he was talking about DC and Puerto Rico, because he has some kind of clue about what those are. No idea whatsoever. Also, one more thing, because David Perdue, he also made other comments about Stacey Abrams, because this is the thing to push when you have a black woman running for governor of a state. You also have to say, why don't she leave? He said, hey, she ain't from here. Let her go back to where she came from. She doesn't like it here. It says David Perdue, obviously he's white. And Abrams, of course, a black woman who was born in Wisconsin and raised in Mississippi before attending high school and college in Georgia. He's not the only one. Brian Kemp also, who's the current governor there in Georgia, who she's gonna be running against if she gets this opportunity here. He also tweeted this out. Stacey Abrams may think differently, but I believe Georgia is the best state to live, work, and raise a family. And Marty, the girls, and I will work hard every day from now until November to keep it that way for 4 more years. First of all, Brian, I'm not sure why your girls are working on your campaign and also working with the state of Georgia. Sounds like they shouldn't be, but I don't know. That's just another political line. I hate when people do stuff like that. But I want to get your thoughts on this entire situation here, Dave.
Well, Brian Kemp wants to violate child labor laws or thinks that they're inappropriate. I think he should leave the state and should even leave the United States and go someplace where they actually have child labor. But to Herschel Walker and that point about 52 states, I think we should all be able to agree that if somebody's running for the US Senate, and I'll give a pass in the House because we got some real lunatics in the House, but if somebody's running for the US Senate, it should be a basic understanding that if you don't know how many states are in the union, you are not qualified to be a member of the US Senate. Now, And if Herschel Walker does have aspirations and he does want Washington, D.C. to become a state, which he should, we should all support statehood for D.C. and Puerto Rico, then he should come out and say that and say, well, that's what I meant. People should go to D.C. and hopefully it'll be a state when I'm a senator, and maybe Herschel Walker will actually vote for that if he is a senator. I don't think he even knows what statehood or colonies even mean. And I think there's a lot of things that he doesn't understand and he doesn't know how to talk. And I'm still flummoxed that he's gotten this far in politics.
It's a big illustration that all we need is a humanoid being standing there that can speak just enough to say things like, why don't you go back where you came from? And I think the people of America need to understand that. That's all he ever says. They need to understand that. They need to elect someone that likes America. That's your stance, that's your platform, that's what you're running on. Again, it says more about the Republican Party than it does about Herschel Walker. One more thing, because Stacey Abrams did respond to the things that they were saying about how dare you say that bad things are happening in Georgia and you want to fix it. Weird. Here's what she put on Instagram. This is graphic number 5, you guys. She says, under Brian Kemp, Georgia ranks first in maternal mortality. Is that the party of pro-life? First in new HIV diagnoses. Second in percent uninsured. Again, how about pro-life? 6th in infant mortality. How about that life? 9th in rate of gun violence. How about that life? 48th in mental health and 50th in minimum wage. So in other words, unless you want to live like this, you should go somewhere else. Because everyone in Georgia loves these numbers. They don't want to bring up the facts. They just want to bring up these emotional responses.